Alright, Forza as a series has gone through a lot of ups and downs. And as to say right now, they're looking really bad in terms of both sides, on the Horizon side and on the Motorsport side. And for me, in this video, my question to ask is, what happened? What's going on? What's the problem here? And for my answer is to simply say that they've lost the plot in terms of their overall direction and what the players want and a lot of other things. But mainly those two things are the main problems as to why the players aren't satisfied, including myself. Now, before I get into the discussion, I'd like to ask you guys a question, and let me know in the comments as to what you guys want me to do. Essentially, I'm gonna be making reviews on the Forza Horizon series from Horizon 2 onwards, and the Need for Speed series from Carbon onwards, excluding Shift 2 and 1 and Nitro and World. And I want you guys to know, or I want you guys to tell me what to tackle first, the Horizon series or the Need for Speed series. I'm kind of leaning towards the Horizon series first because I have to tackle more games for the Need for Speed series, and I haven't really gotten to replaying most of the games on the Need for Speed side. So I would say, you know, the Horizon series first, but if you guys want me to do the Need for Speed side, that wouldn't be much of a problem. I got 2 games I can review right now for the Need for Speed side, and obviously the Horizon side, I'm ready. I can review all games right now if I want to. I got a lot to talk about them. I have a huge opinion on them, and even for the Speed side, I got a huge opinion on those games as well. So just let me know in the comments. Anyways, so obviously when they're growing up, right, as this one-off series, this upcoming series with the first 3 motorsport games, I will talk about the 2 specifically. Obviously, they were essentially trying to be a direct competitor to Gran Turismo. That's what their goal was, and for what they were doing for the first 2 games, what they were making, they were providing good experiences. They were doing their job, and the players, for the most part, were satisfied for those 2 games at the time, and now, even now. And then there was Motorsport 3. So when Motorsport 3 came out, it was pretty much a really big deal in my eyes, as it was, when it came out 2009, it was the year before Gran Turismo 5 came out, right? Polyphony Digital had some things to cover with Gran Turismo 5. It got delayed a lot of times. They still had to work on the game, so it wasn't going to release until 2010. But Motorsport 3 came out a year before that, right? Motorsport 3 was a pretty good game as it was. It very improved a lot of ways from Forza Motorsport 2, and it introduced a lot of things that the series will see today still. So then we got Motorsport 4, which came out 2011, so a year after Gran Turismo 5. And that game is, I don't have to say it, regarded as one of the, if not the best Forza game to date, point blank period. Definitely the best Motorsport game, and even the best game period, simply as is. And I agree at this because it did everything. That's how it was. A year after that, Horizon 1, taking the series in a new light, as well as taking a massive risk, which paid off, as this game was, for most people, regarded as still the best Horizon game. But then next year, 2013, Forza Motorsport 5, regarded as one of the worst Forza games today. So my question is, what happened? And simply, it was a launch title release. It was a launch title game, and for what it was trying to essentially make it, Turn 10 had not much time to make the game, as they were putting up a new engine and setting up the new engine and all that kind of stuff, which it didn't really have much content going for it. And for what it was, it didn't do well. A lot of players saw this and didn't accept it, and that was how it was. So then let's stick to the Motorsport side, right? Motorsport 6 came out 2 years after, and for that game, it did pretty well. It had a lot of content, brought back a lot of content that Motorsport 5 was missing. That's good. It had, for what it was a decent game. And the players, yeah, it was a decent game. But the problem was, it was not as good still as Forza Motorsport 4. Now it's hard to like get a game, make a game that is better than its peak, right? I get that. But in terms of that, when you compare Motorsport 6 to Motorsport 4, there's a lot of things missing still. And for that reason, this car is still not as good. And yeah, I would say even Forza Motorsport 3 is better than Motorsport 6. So then we get to Motorsport 7. And for this game, it essentially was another launch title release, because Xbox One X was coming out in the same year, and Turn 10 had to essentially kind of treat it as a launch title game and kind of rush it a little bit to get it out and in the same year as the Xbox One X. And for what it was, that game had a lot of problems at launch. It wasn't very optimized well. And while there's a lot of cars, there's a lot of quantity, the quality was not there. And it took a while to get the game in a good state for Turn 10, as nearly the end of its life cycle, which was like 2019, is when it was in a decent state. But yeah, so that's for the Motorsport side. And now we're gonna get to Motorsport Reboot later on. But now we're talking about the Horizon side. So the Horizon side is different. It lost its plot in a different way as to what Turn 10 lost its plot for Motorsport side. It is different. Not in the sense that it lost its plot in terms of the optimization and missing in terms of content. Not really in that, as all 5 games are great aesthetically, content wise. They're all great games. There's nothing really wrong with them. But when it lost its plot, I'll tell you when it lost its plot. So the first 3 games, there's nothing wrong with them. They're all amazing games. All amazing games. But the Horizon 4 came out, right? And things started to shift a little bit. So how did this series lose its plot as opposed to Motorsport? So what I'm gonna say is that it lost its plot in terms of catering towards the casual side more than its core fan base, the car enthusiasts, the car guys, more than that. And how did he do it? Well, it was kind of assumed that it was gonna be a thing. It was gonna, like, they were shifting towards a little bit, like slightly doing it in Horizon 3, but was the core fan base intent was still there for the developers to make it a good experience for them. But Horizon 4 is when things started going a bit wonky in terms of the progression, in terms of its map, most will say, in terms of its car sounds, and a lot of other things were a bit of a mixed bag in the size of car enthusiasts, core fan base, right? And Horizon 5, ironically, had things worse going for it in terms of its map, in terms of its progression. Its car sounds, well, For the most part, it was well, but that wasn't its main problem. Its main problem was the map and progression. So for the motorsport side, obviously we'll go back to that. Motorsport Rainbow came out a couple of months ago. How did that game turn out? After 6-year long wait. Not good. It had a worse launch than Motorsport 7. And it had arguably a worse launch than Motorsport 5. Because not only it was missing content in a lot of ways, also not optimized well at all. At all. In either platform, Xbox, PC, no, it was not optimized at all well. And it's now trying to pick itself back up. Let's pick itself the pieces up. On top of that, you have a bad car progression, car building type system built into the game that people simply don't like, and including myself don't like. And simply, that's how it is. The motorsport side right now has it worse than the Horizon side in terms of the optimization and the overall entire community not happy with it. The Horizon side, you may argue that people are still happy with the game. The casual side, yes. The core fan base, no. And that is a problem for the Horizon side. For the motorsport side now, neither is happy with the game right now. Neither is happy. Now there's going to be less casuals for the motorsport side, and I argue that there's not much casuals in the motorsport side, right? Because the motorsport games are simcade games, and in my opinion, I don't see simcades as casual games. Casuals don't really go for simcade games. They don't really go for games. Yeah, they don't really go for games like Gran Turismo. They don't really go for games like Motorsport. They will go for the arcade side. They will go for more arcade. So Need for Speed, Forza Horizon, The Crew. Those games they will go for, not really the simcade side. So you don't really have much of a casual side, the motorsport side to begin with. Then the core fan base comes in and they're not happy at all. Not me, not your friend, not anybody else. Like, no one is happy with that. And simply it is just because it's not optimized well and there's a lot of missing content. Simple. That's how it is for motorsport. Simple. Can they pick themselves up? Yeah. They can make a better game in a year from now. In a couple of months, like in October this year, 2024, we could see a better game. Yes. We could see a better game in 2 years. We could see a better game in 3 years. But obviously, there is a stain that has been planted. So that's how it is. For Horizon now is a different story. You have the casual side mainly happy. The core fan base is not. And for my opinion, you would have, for Horizon 6, it needs to be a hybrid between having the core fan base happy and having the casual side happy. How you do that? Simple. Have it like Horizon 3. Have a game like Forza Horizon 3. The progression was good enough for both sides, right? It was not too much of a bad progression for the core fan base to be complaining. Now some people were complaining, but it's not in a way where everyone is in the core fan base side. And the casual side, they're happy. They will be happy because it's not too difficult, it's not too hard for them, whatever. And the map, there's a lot going for it. There's a lot going for Horizon 3. You had a lot of places to go. There was a lot of memorable places, and it was modernly driven. Now, I talked about this in my video talking about what I would want in Horizon 6. Now, you can watch that video if you like. It's link the video in the description. Now, I'm just gonna go brief on that, but the map and progression is the things you have to get right for the core fan base and the casual side to be both happy, right? And both sides need to be happy. For if you want both sides to be happy, progression, map. The map needs to have a lot going for it. It can't be mainly dead. It can't be just an open area, right? There needs to be a lot of places to go, and for those places, those said places need to be memorable places. It needs to be outstanding and innovative. The city needs to be big, and it also has to be more lively. Overall, not just the city, but overall, the map needs to be more lively. You need more traffic cars. Not too much, don't need that much. Don't need so much, but having a lot will be nice. So that's how it is for the Forza series in general, right? Motorsport side has it way worse than Horizon side, but the Horizon side are not doing well for what it is, because for one, the Horizon side has the Crew series to worry about. Crew Motorfest is a great game, and for their next game, if they're gonna make a next game, it might just dethrone it, right? For the Motorsport side, it's not looking good at all. We have so many videos of people talking about how Gran Turismo 7 is a way better game overall than Motorsport. And it's simply facts. You can't argue in any way. In every way, Gran Turismo 7 is a better game. The progression or the campaign or the career mode is not as good as, you know, the older Gran Turismo games. Like Gran Turismo 6 has a way better career mode than Gran Turismo 7. Way better. But even then, it's still better than whatever Motorsport is doing. The online is objectively more organized than, not more organized, but objectively better experience than Motorsport, because Motorsport it's not optimized well. Then you have the graphics, which is not the best in Motorsport at all. Very bipolar. It could look really good and again could look really bad. But overall, Gran Turismo 7 looks good in every single light, every single, you know, shot. Looks good in every single way. And there's so many other things I could talk about. We're talking about the car models, obviously. Yeah. So, in my opinion, what I want for the Forza series in general is to have a clear and well thought out direction into making these games overall better. For the Horizon side and for the Motorsport side. Turn 10 and PlayerUnknown's games need to know what they're doing wrong and to getting those things right. Simple. Anyways, that's it, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. You know, leave a like if you guys like to, and also share it if you guys want to. If you thought this was a good video, a good discussion. I'd like to hear you guys' thoughts in the comments about what you guys want to see for the Forza series in general, or your main thoughts on what's going on right now with both sides. But yeah, man, that's it.